She looked me straight in the eyes and said it so casually it almost killed me. "Olivia, I've already agreed to carry my sister's baby." My hands went cold, my chest tightened, and I swear the room started spinning. For 18 years, I thought I knew the woman I married. I thought loyalty meant something. But in that one moment, she shattered every promise we'd ever made, every bond we'd built, and every single dream I thought we shared. And the worst part? She had already spoken to her sister's husband about it, long before she even bothered to tell me. Before I continue, hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and share this video. Because what you're about to hear is one of the most shocking betrayals you'll ever come across. And the way it all ended will leave you speechless. I couldn't even breathe as she explained it like it was no big deal. "It's my body, Olivia, and I'm doing this with or without your support." Those words burned into my mind. My wife, the woman I built a family with, was ready to carry another man's child under our roof without my consent, without even asking me. She didn't even flinch when I said, "You realize this will tear us apart?" She just looked at me coldly and replied, "Then maybe we're not as strong as I thought." That night, I couldn't sleep. The walls felt like they were closing in on me, the silence heavier than ever before. I knew one thing: everything had changed. But if she thought I was going to sit quietly and play the supportive husband while she carried Kevin's child, she was about to see a side of me she never imagined. The days that followed felt like living in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Every corner of the house reminded me of what she had done, and then one evening I opened the fridge and froze. A box sat there labeled from the fertility clinic. Syringes, vials, hormone medication, all placed like it was just another grocery item. My stomach turned. She didn't even try to hide it. I slammed the fridge shut and demanded, "What the hell is all this, Olivia?" She looked up from a packet of papers, calm as ever, and said, "Hormone treatments. The clinic sent them. I have to start soon." My chest burned with rage. "And you didn't think this was worth a real conversation? You're just dragging me through hell without a second thought." She rolled her eyes like I was the problem, muttering, "Stop being dramatic. It's just 9 months. Then I hand the baby over to my sister. You'll get over it." Get over it? Watching her belly grow with another man's child, in the house where we raised our children, and I was supposed to just clap along? I told her coldly, "If you go through with this, our marriage is done. I'll file for divorce." She looked me dead in the eye and said, "Then leave. My pride won't let me back down. Sarah and Kevin need me." That was the moment my love turned into something darker: anger, betrayal, and the burning thought that if she wanted to walk this road alone, then she would feel every consequence, without me to catch her when she fell. When I finally contacted a lawyer, she stormed into the living room like a hurricane, her voice sharp but low so the kids wouldn't hear. "How dare you file for divorce behind my back?" she hissed, eyes blazing. I kept my tone calm, almost too calm, as I guided her into the hallway. "I told you what would happen if you kept pushing forward without me. You made your choice. Now I'm making mine." Tears welled in her eyes, but they weren't tears of regret. They were tears of rage. "You're throwing away 18 years, Olivia. For what? Pride?" I let out a bitter laugh. "No, for respect. Something you stopped giving me the day you decided Kevin deserved more of your trust than your own wife." After that night, the house turned into a battlefield of silence. She moved into the guest room. I stayed in the master bedroom, and our children tiptoed around the tension like it was landmines waiting to explode. But the worst came when Sarah and Kevin showed up one weekend. I walked in to find them lounging in my living room, flipping through a stroller catalog, planning for a baby that wasn't mine, acting as if my home had turned into their baby showroom. I clenched my jaw, barely able to contain myself. "Why don't you two plan all this in your own house? Because in mine there's no baby coming, not for me." Sarah snapped back. "We're family, Olivia. We're just trying to make this easier for her." That word, family, made me laugh without humor. Family? No. Family doesn't stab each other in the back and expect applause. They stormed out, but the damage was done. My wife glared at me, hissing, "You're acting like a child, alienating them." I shot back, "Better that than letting them treat me like a fool in my own home." And deep down, I knew I wasn't done yet. My revenge hadn't even started. As the months dragged on, her belly grew heavier, and so did the silence between us. She expected me to fetch her snacks, rub her back, even sit with her through the nausea, but every time, I refused. "You made this choice, Olivia," I told her coldly. "Ask Kevin. Ask Sarah. They're the ones you did this for." She would break down crying, calling me heartless, begging me to remember the man I used to be. But that man had died the night she blindsided me. The tension exploded one midnight when she pounded on my bedroom door, her voice shaking. "My water broke. I need to get to the hospital." For a moment, memories of when we had our own kids flashed in my mind, but bitterness crushed them instantly. I looked at her, drenched in pain and sweat, and said, "Not my baby. Call an ambulance." Her face twisted in disbelief. "You're really going to leave me like this? You're heartless." I stared back without blinking. "That's what happens when you kill trust." And I shut the door. Minutes later, the flashing red lights of an ambulance cut through the window as paramedics whisked her away. The next morning, my phone buzzed non-stop, her family screaming at me, calling me a monster for abandoning her during labor. I deleted every message without listening. If she wanted to be a savior for her sister, then her sister's family could carry her through the pain. But then came the cruelest twist of all. When she came home from the hospital, pale and exhausted, she wasn't alone. She brought the newborn with her. And in that moment, my house, my life, and my patience reached a breaking point. She placed the tiny car seat on the floor, her hands trembling as the baby let out a soft cry. My stomach churned. That child wasn't mine, yet here it was, in my living room, wrapped in blankets like it belonged. I snapped, "Why is the baby here, Olivia? Shouldn't it be with Sarah?" She avoided my eyes, whispering, "Sarah had complications. Kevin's overwhelmed. They asked me to keep her for a few weeks." I laughed bitterly. "They asked? Or you volunteered? Don't play games. You chose this and you're going to deal with it alone. Don't expect me to lift a finger." She sat there silently, tears streaming down her face, while the baby's cries filled the house. For weeks, I watched her stumble around half asleep, begging me for help. "Just 30 minutes, please. I need rest," she pleaded one night. I stared at her coldly and said, "Call Kevin. Call your mother. Not my baby, not my problem." Her family flooded the house, accusing me of cruelty, wagging fingers in my face, calling me a coward and a monster. Her father even tried to threaten me, but I stood my ground. "Your daughter destroyed our marriage. She forged my signature, drained our finances, and chose another man's child over her own family. She made her bed. Let her lie in it." The courtroom was my battlefield. My lawyer laid everything out. The forged documents, the financial betrayal, the proof that I never consented. When the judge ruled, it was like fire in my veins. I won primary custody of our 3 children. No spousal support. She had to repay the money she stole. And for the first time in months, I felt like justice had finally taken my side. But the real satisfaction came after, when I looked her in the eye in that courthouse hallway and told her the truth she couldn't swallow. "You didn't just betray me, you destroyed yourself. And now, you can live with the consequences." After the divorce was finalized, it was like a weight lifted off my chest. The house felt lighter, the kids laughed more, and for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. Meanwhile, Olivia, drifted between her mother's house and hospital visits for Sarah. Kevin and Sarah had their baby, but their world wasn't the fairy tale they imagined. Kevin's job hours got cut, Sarah's medical bills piled high, and money became their constant fight. And Olivia, she was left drained, jobless, and clinging to regrets. Sometimes she would send me long emails, filled with apologies and what-ifs. I never thought it would end like this. I never thought I'd lose you. I only wanted to help my sister, she wrote once. I replied with nothing more than updates about our children. No warmth, no opening, just facts. Because the truth was simple. She chose her path, and I let her walk it. At custody exchanges, she'd stare at me with those tear-stained eyes, hoping for some sign of forgiveness. But I gave her nothing. To me, she was no longer the woman I married, just a reminder of the betrayal that cut me to my core. And when people asked why I was so merciless, I told them plainly, respect and honesty are the foundation of marriage. She destroyed both. My revenge was to let her live with the very freedom she claimed she wanted, alone, without me to catch her. In the end, I kept my dignity, my children, and my peace, while she was left with nothing but regret. And if that makes me cruel, then cruelty was the price of my self-respect, a price I was more than willing to pay.